Good morning, Thriving Warriors. My name is Edward Bevilacqua, and today is August 26, 2023. Here we are in beautiful Pahrump, southwest Nevada. The temperature is currently about 70 degrees. Today's high is going to be 101. Why are we here? I guess you're all wondering what we're doing here. We are here to help a certain class of people, certain type of person, get from where they are to someplace better. From point A to point B, from someday Isle to Successlandia. What type of person is that, you might wonder? Well, we have this, think about a matrix, where you have people who put God number one and people who do not put God number one. If you put God number one, this podcast is not designed for you. God should be number one in your life. We'll talk about that in a second. God should be number one in your life. But if God is not already number one in your life, this really is not. Wait a second, that's wrong. That's wrong. If God is number one in your life, cut, edit. We're going to edit that beginning part out. Okay, good morning, Thriving Warriors. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. Here we are at Department of Career Services at Thriving Warrior, where our goal is to help you get from point A to point B, from where you are to someplace better, from someday Isle to Successlandia. We do it through the stuff down below in the description. Not through what I say, but through the stuff down below, the experts down below. So, who is this podcast for? Well, if God is already number one in your life, this podcast is not for you. God should be number one. If God is number one in your life, the most important thing in your life, this podcast is not designed for you. If you are successful, this podcast is not designed for you, because down below we have things to help you become successful. What is success? We'll talk about that in a second. What is God being number one? We'll talk about that in a second. But if God is number one in your life already, this podcast is not for you. If you are already successful, this podcast is not for you. So what's left? People where God is not number one and you are not successful. This podcast is for you. If God is not number one in your life and you are not successful, because the most important thing is God should be number one in your life and you should also be successful, but not success at the cost of God being number one. And if you let go, let God, you will be successful. Okay, there we go. So let's get started in earnest. First part, we have a 5-part approach to this video now, 5-part format. First is we prepare for the video, then we have our attitude of gratitude to set us on the proper course, looking for the day, to be appreciative of the things we have, despite the thorns in our side that we might be experiencing, which could be there for our benefit. Then we review yesterday, we plan for today, and then after the video is over, I ask you for about 30 seconds to project yourself into today, see your future, be your future. So let's prepare. And here you could be, if God was number one in your life, this would be the point of time where you'd ask the Holy Spirit to come into you, to give you a sense of openness, etc. But for our purposes, since God is not number one in your life, though he should be, footnote, should be, though God is not number one in your life, we'll just do some breathing exercises, just a couple deep breaths. So one is so I do the Andrew Huberman approach from Stanford, Dr. Andrew Huberman. Double inhale to get as much air into our lungs, open up our air sacs in our lungs as much as we can. So double intake, using our stomach to breathing in through our stomach. And then I just spill out. Okay, so you should feel better. If you are attuned and aware, you should feel better. So that we are now prepared to do it, sort of, because we still need our coffee. This is the Pete's coffee that Randy Bissell brought with him, which is always greatly appreciated. Not too shabby. Okay, so now we've prepared for today. Let's have our attitude of gratitude to set us on the right path. Appreciation for the things we have rather than complaining about the things we don't have, or focusing on the problems and challenges and obstacles we have, because we need to remember the obstacle is the way. All right, so write down in your book, I'm so happy and grateful now that. Boom. I'm so happy and grateful now that. And then, so that's step one. Step two, turn it into a question. What am I so happy and grateful for now? Because our brain is designed to solve problems. If you just say, I'm happy and grateful, but if you say, what am I so happy and grateful for? And then pause, reflect, turn inward so you can imagine, picture what's going on in your brain. You'll start having a list of all of the things that you're happy and grateful for. I'm happy and grateful that my daughter Sophie is on a plane. She will be arriving in about 2 hours into Las Vegas. So I will be there to pick her up, and we will start a quick, short little adventure. Okay. So now we review our day. I'm going to talk about success and God being number one. Randy and I spoke about this yesterday at lunch. How do you know if God is number one in your life? And for me, it's one of those things that, well, you just know. I just know. Because I run everything through this filter. And one way to think about it would be to say, God's gift to me is my life. My gift to God is how I live my life. Okay? And if you live your life not trying to please God, not get something, not bargain for exchange, not I'm doing this because of crowns I'm trying to earn. No, not for that reason. Just to please God, to live your life as your gift to God. Do things that are pleasing to God. If that is your focus, then by definition, by default, God is number one. If you find yourself in a situation where God is number one until somebody puts a chocolate cookie out there, well, God really isn't number one. But that's nothing to beat yourself up about. You just have to continue working on it. Maybe say, why isn't God number one in my life? Ask your brain that question, sit back, and watch the reasons come in, because they will. Okay, so how do you know if God is number one in your life? I say you just know. You can ask your brain the question, is God number one in my life? Is my God number one in my life? I tend to think that my God is bigger than the God that other people have. I don't see my God as petty. I don't see my God as rule bound, or as they say, legalistic. I don't see my God as that way, because it's hard to be forgiving if you have if you're petty. All right, next. Okay, so that's number one. Is God number one in your life? He should be. If God is number one in your life, this podcast is not designed for you. Maybe you'll get something out of it, but it's not designed for you. Okay, are you successful? Okay, what is success? Here in our program, in our neuroscience-oriented approach to success, we have a formula for success. Okay, this is the thing we thought up. This is just here. And our formula is success is a function of money times meaning and purpose in that order. But here's what you need to remember. You could have $1 billion and your meaning and purpose could be zero. So 1 billion times zero is what? Zero. You're not successful because you have money. However, if you have money, you can be more successful because it's money times meaning and purpose. What is meaning and purpose? Meaning means act such that everything you do matters. And that should be directed towards making God number one in your life. Okay? Act such that everything you do matters. Matters how? Towards making God number one in your life. Towards using your life as a gift to God. Behaving as if your life is your gift to God. So that's meaning. Purpose is service to others. Helping other people. So let's just say your meaning number is 10 and your purpose number is 10. Whatever you have for money, money times 100 is a big number. If you have $1 billion times 100, that's $100 billion. So you can see that money alone does not make you successful. Money is what money does. My undergraduate degree is in finance at a pretty good university, and there the question is, what is money? Finance, what is money? And the simple answer is money is what money does. So if you have a lot of money but you don't do anything with it, not really value. You have a gold ingot, but nobody will take it from you. You can't use it because they think it's stolen or they think it's fake. It's not worth anything. It's just a big, heavy, shiny piece of metal. Okay, so we're at 12 minutes and 20 seconds in. We're not really going to do much else other than this podcast is designed for people who have not put God first in your life, because if you have, you don't need this, though you might get some value out of it, but it's not designed for you. And people who are not successful. When it comes to putting God first in your life, I am not the guy who is best equipped to do that. That's not my talent, because I am just a fledgling pilgrim. I would say I'm a pilgrim, a fledgling pilgrim. I'm not even pilgrim. I'm a fledgling pilgrim when it comes to that, to helping you put God as number one in your life. Success, yes, I can help you with that. And our definition of success is money time. Success is a function of money times meaning and purpose. Okay, so plan for today. What is the plan? Look down in the notes of the video down below. I really do want to read the Seth Godin one because I think it's pretty good. So down below, I suggest to you very strongly, watch the motivational video. Watch the TED Talk, Joe Bolte Taylor, regarding my stroke of insight. Inc. Magazine, 5 phrases are holding you back. Spend an hour doing this stuff, and I can promise you your life will get better. But here's Seth Godin. The maverick and the status quo. The future isn't the same as the past. Technology develops, systems change, and most of all, someone cares enough to make things better. The maverick isn't the selfish gunslinger of myth. In fact, she's focused on resilient, useful interactions that change what we expect, pushing back against the inertia of gobbledygook and bureaucracy. Some principles to keep in mind. While it may seem reserved for the young people of any, though it may seem reserved for the young, people of any age can choose the maverick path. It tends to skew younger because it's exhausting and because changing the status quo can cause discomfort to those that change and those that are changed. Right, I know that quite well. Changing the status quo is uncomfortable for other people who are dependent upon the status quo and who rejoice in it. Once someone is comfortable enough, it might be easier to stand by. Hustle is rarely the most useful action. Systems are built to resist short-term hurried effort, but patient, persistent, and focused effort can pay off. Solo quests make good westerns or legends, but almost all systems change is the result of teams of people organized and connected in service of the longer goal. Correct. I also know that quite well. Sticky ideas are built on the network effect, dramatically outperform urgent media moments. Sticky ideas that are built on the network effect dramatically outperform urgent media moments. Change begins with the smallest viable audience, not the largest possible one. Urgency defeats emergency. The world is topsy-turvy, and yet this is as normal as it's ever going to be again. We need your leadership. Okay, so here we are with 16 minutes in. Going to wrap it up. Two things left. One is a couple parting memes, and the second thing is when this is done, don't just get up and go. Kind of reflect, project into the future. So if you're a golfer, see the shot before you take the shot. See your day before you live the day. Plan it out. Follow the plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Okay. Lastly, how do you get from point A to point B, from someday out to Successlandia? One simple thing is what? One simple thing is act such that yesterday was the only easy day. Act such that yesterday was the only easy day. Push yourself just a little bit more, get a little bit more comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm going to say cut, project, plan out your day, and live the plan. And cut. Thank you for being there, everyone. Boom.